Inner Light, where today we dive into a conversation that reaches far beyond business metrics. My guest, Jon Weberg, may be known as a self made entrepreneur and top 1% growth consultant. But today, we are stepping into his deeper wisdom. How do you truly feel for those who wronged you? And what does radical love look like when your life hands you betray, pain, or loss? Get ready for a raw, honest, and empowering conversation about the inner work that transforms not only our relationship but our entire lives. Welcome to the show, John. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you very much for having me. We're going to go through some really, really great stuff for everyone listening, and I appreciate you for having me on.
Absolutely. So, John, you have built businesses, systems, and success. But let's go straight into the heart. What made forgiveness such a personal lesson for you?
I think it's because as I've grown up, I've watched so many people. I think it's because as I've grown up, I've watched so many people hold on to resentment, anger, and so many horrendous, debilitating emotions against other people in them in their lives. And as I've watched people have these feelings towards other people, it only debilitates them, their relationship with that person, and it only hurts them. And I've watched as some people do this and hold these feelings again of anger, resentment, just negativity towards their parents, towards their siblings, towards friends, family, strangers, you name it. And often it's for years, years and years go by and they keep holding these feelings in. And I've realized that when people do decide to let go of some of those feelings and to love and forgive instead, often it doesn't just affect the relationship with that person who you have those feelings towards. It changes everything for you yourself completely, because when you hold on to those emotions, the emotion literally affects your psyche and how you think and how you operate in the character you represent to the world. So I think it's important that when you are able to let go of these things, you let go of that almost fake representation of yourself that you hold with that negative emotion.
Right. And was there a specific moment where holding on to the resentment cost you more than letting go?
I think there's definitely many situations. Whether it's been with like friends of mine who I've been upset at, there's been a couple friends who I had problems with for myself, like for years. I had a friend back in high school, who when I was a young man, I was, uh, you know, focused on girls at the time, and he had swindled my girl and then was dating her, and I resented him for years for it because he started dating my girl. And I talked to him afterwards and I'm like, why would I hold on to this? Why would I keep caring about this? It doesn't matter. I'm not dating her anymore. I have no involvement with her. I loved you as a friend for years. I'm just gonna keep loving you as a friend. I'm still just gonna and just enjoy my time around you. And then there's been other situations, for example, like growing up, my relationship with my mom. I love my mom dearly. She's amazing. But at certain points, it was more, she didn't always agree with my entrepreneurship. And that led to some really stressful moments for me and her. And, you know, later on as an adult in life, I thought about and really just figured, because I had still, I think, some light, not resentment, but I had some, like, I wish she would have supported me more. I wish she would have done XYZ, but she didn't. And that's okay. She still was a loving mom. She still was a great mom. So instead of holding on to any resentment of any kind or any ill feelings, I'm just going to feel better all the time by just letting it be, letting it go. It's okay. I'm not living in it now. I don't have to live in it now. I can live now however I decide. Mm-hmm.
So, we often hear forgive and forget, but it's rarely that simple. How do you define forgiveness in a way that actually frees you?
Mm, I think forgiving means that you don't necessarily, because people think that when you forgive someone, like you have to hang out with them, you have to be around them, you have to, you name it, you have to talk to them. Forgiving is literally just your inner thoughts and model of how you feel about that person. And it's simply realizing that what has happened or did happen does not affect you anymore. So you're almost letting go of the feelings you have attached to it, not actually the situation, because the thing or event still happened. But you don't have to keep feeling that pain as whenever you decide you don't want to feel that anymore. I don't have to feel pain attached to anything. You actually get to always literally dictate your emotions you feel about just about anything. To a certain degree, like there's different traumas and there's different things that happen that tend to have a more difficult, harder to manage grip on people. But truly, you still, in the end, with time, patience, loving yourself, forgiving yourself, and just really thinking through this situation that happened to you and how, again, it's really not happening to you right now. So any any bad feeling, anything that you have towards it, it's only affecting you negatively. It's serving no positive purpose. So I think of forgiving the situation and the person as a way of letting go of debilitating emotions that don't fuel you, that don't add anything to your life. And when you can let it go, you can still know that it happened. You can still remember it. But when you let go of the negative emotions associated to it, you also can often see the situation more clearly. You can understand the other person more. They can still be in the wrong. The other person can still be bad. The other person can still be all these different things you think about them. But it's simply just letting go of this thing you have built up inside that doesn't serve you. It's all about trying to live a life where your emotions serve you as much as possible, really.
Definitely. And can forgiveness exist even when trust is permanently broken?
Um, I would think so. Yes, I think yes, because just because you forgive someone, it doesn't mean you have to talk to them, doesn't mean you have to trust them, doesn't mean you have to be in connection with again. And you can actually still love the person. You can not like the things they did to you, forgive them for those things, and love them without having to be around them, without having to talk to them. It's like, people think that, if you forgive someone, you have to go talk to them and say, hey, I forgive you. It's all in here, it's all inside, it's all in your heart, it's all in your mind. So I think that it's really just the decision to focus on getting rid of those bad emotions. And can you trust them again? I think it depends on the severity of what happened, the length of time that it happened in, and if they are continuing to take those actions still today. So, for example, I recently, probably about 4 years ago, had a falling out with my brother. My brother and my family, my entire family, and my brother weren't talking for like, I think it was a year and a half. And it was because of some things that were said and done. And we trust him and we love him and we forgive him and vice versa because the actions are different. And that's where you have to kind of learn and see in the person is you can maybe trust someone again if they've actually changed as a person. Not if you think they've kind of changed, and if you think they're a little bit different, have they actually changed their character? And are they taking action to not represent that person they once were? That is, I think, a case where you could maybe trust someone again. Because that's often what people want to do after they forgive someone is, well, I want to love and trust you again, but how do I do that?
Gives the audience tools to separate forgiveness from reconciliation.
Um, the best tool to negotiate it, I think, that's a very good question. um, is not seeing them as the same thing. I think all of these different elements are different aspects of how you feel about someone. So, like, for example, there are certain friends that you have that you're closer in relationship to. So I have acquaintances. I have my lifelong friends I've had since I was 6. And I've had friends who I've met in town where I moved to for the past year and a half, 2 years. And while they're all my friends, I don't treat them all necessarily exactly the same. I don't love them all exactly the same. I don't have the exact same relationship with all of them. Am I a loving person? Am I a giving person? Am I the same person with them? Yes, but I don't categorize them as because they're my friend, I have to do X, Y, Z, all these different things with them. I can decide this person, depending on my relationship with them, here's what I'm willing and not willing to do with them. Here's what is acceptable with this person. Here's what is not acceptable with that person. So I think it's setting boundaries and standards per the relationship that you're wanting to manage and think about. That's what helps. That's what helps be able to not just because I forgive someone means I have to reconciliate with them. It means I have to do this and that. Just because you forgive someone doesn't mean any of these different things. It means whatever you decide and dictate it means to you, setting those standards and setting those boundaries.
100%. And for many people, forgiveness feels like weakness or even surrender. How do you help others reframe forgiveness as a position of power?
I would phrase it as the most difficult, hard, strength-filled activity there is on the planet. If you think about what the most difficult thing to do is for a lot of people, it's saying I'm sorry. It's forgiving someone who's wronged you. So in fact, it is actually, I would argue to them, it's the most hard thing people often do sometimes in their entire life. Some people hold on to resentment for decades. Some people hold on to feelings towards people for years and years and years, and it affects them for years and years and years. And that doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve anyone. The only way you and other people are going to become more happy around you is when you be that thing that loves, forgives, and that is light, that is good. So people have to realize that it's super difficult. In fact, there's, that's why I talk about, like, you should even not just forgive people who have wronged you, you should love them. You should want the best for them, which is even more difficult to imagine and think about because people are like, well, no, I don't want the best for this person. They were horrible to me. They did this, they did that. They love them regardless. It doesn't mean, again, you have to be around them. It doesn't mean you have to like them. It doesn't mean you have to, you name it. It just means that you love and want the best for them, regardless of what they've done. It's what true love really is. True love is like a mother's love. No matter what, I will always love you. I don't have to like you. I don't have to approve of what you do. I don't have to like what you do. You name it. But I can still want you to become the best person you can be, because if you became that best person you could really, really become, you would be a great service to yourself in the world.
Right. And how did this reframe change how you handle business conflicts or betrayal?
I think it's important because often in business there's a lot of deals that don't go the way you want. There's there can be a lot of stressful situations, a lot of tension, especially navigating deals. There's a lot of partnerships that don't work out. There's a lot of people that don't fulfill their end of the bargain, that don't do what they say they're going to do. And it really is, I think, trying to find alignment with those people who don't do those things, who are willing to fulfill their end of the bargain. So you have to, again, simply let it go and move on to the people who will resonate and want to work with you, and that are easy to work with, and that you can find more fulfillment in. It's basically finding alignment, almost spiritually, almost emotionally, almost who you are as a person in business as well. Because, from my experience, my best clients have been ones that are probably kind of similar to me. My best clients have been the ones that are most loving, most open, most you name it. And the same with the business partnerships that have worked out are the ones that are reciprocal. So I think you want to watch for people in relationships that are reciprocal. And if they aren't reciprocal, don't spend too much time or too much energy in them because it's not serving either of you. It really isn't. Unless it's back and forth, you're not going to get, and they're not going to get what you need to have a mutually beneficial, strong relationship. So you're almost filtering. You're filtering people as you have a relationship with them, and they're doing the same thing to you to decide, does me and you working together make sense in the long term? And if it doesn't, that's okay. We don't have to work together. Let's find people who are better to work with for each of us.
And I love how this connects personal growth with professional leadership.
Mhm. Yeah, they're it's really all the same. I mean, truly, if you think about entrepreneurship is mainly a mental game. It is a mental mindset, for example, um, on how to navigate and manage your life and financials in a different way. And in all aspects of life, whether someone works a career, whether they have a 9 to 5, whether they have a business, you name your situation, you're affected by entirely how you manage your thoughts and how you act and be in the world. And learning to navigate that and manage that better and represent that better more often, your best self you have, changes everything. I mean, it truly changes everything. Yesterday morning, I had one of the best mornings I've probably ever had. It was stupendous. I went out for a drive, cranked the tunes, went and got coffee down a place down the road, got a bowl of soup. It doesn't sound like a crazy morning, but I was so in tune to just being myself, having a good jive, relaxing, just loving the moment. And when I have these moments, when people have these moments, I think about, what if I could have this all the time, or at least way more often? How much more fulfilling, loving, enjoyable of a life would I have? How many opportunities would come my way when I'm this open, I'm this fun, I'm this myself? So I think trying to represent that and be what you want to become. Just I am this thing that I want to be. I am it right now. I'm going to act as if I already am wealthy, healthy, loving, forgiving. Act as if I am this right now. Just be that, and honestly, it changes a lot of your enjoyment and fulfillment of life to it's a whole nother level of loving life.
That's amazing. And love and forgiveness often collide when we are dealing with people closest to us. How do you maintain boundaries while still practicing unconditional love?
I think that's a very good question too. Navigating boundaries is, I think, something that actually I've struggled with growing up because I'm such an open personality. I'm I'm so such a kind and giving person. I want to give as much as I can. However, and it's been a really good blessing. It's been a blessing being like this. However, you have to set firm boundaries. And immediately, how you navigate it is by immediately communicating, you have crossed a boundary. I don't like what you just did. This is not okay. This is not, because the problem in most relationships of any kind occurs when you don't express yourself immediately and you hold that in. And the holding in of emotion and thought allows it to almost grow and churn and boil and becomes resentment and much worse emotions that most people don't realize it will be expressed in another way. You will express how you feel about that person to them or to other people in some way or fashion at some point. So it is much more healthy for you and for them and for the world for you to immediately communicate that thought as soon as you possibly can. So maybe you have to take a moment to think about it and call them later, talk to them later, text them later, message them later. Hey, what just happened? This situation. better in person is always great. But however you communicate that, within probably a day or a few days maximum, you need to talk with the person and illustrate that immediately, because otherwise all self deflected thoughts that you want to express will become much worse and harder to manage, and they will be represented in other things in your day to day. So you have to express your defense of your boundaries as soon as you can, in the most healthy and the most calm and loving way. And they will then be received better, because often when people have their boundaries crossed, they're like, they jump to being upset, they jump to being furious, they jump to all these different emotions. And if you can come from a place of, hey, what just happened? I didn't, that wasn't cool. I don't like that. Please don't do that again. I love you. Please don't do that again. It usually generally serves both people in the situation better, even though it's not their immediate reaction you want to take.
Definitely. And what role does self love play in this process?
It is the number one most important thing you have in life, because you spend the most time with in your life you, inside your head, inside your mind, inside your thoughts, constantly thinking, debating, imagining, expressing. And your ability often to love yourself and forgive yourself and to not be so hard on yourself is what dictates often how you treat the world. The most unfulfilled people are often kind of nasty to the world. People who have problems with forgiving and loving people around them, often it's because there's some kind of internal dialogue or problem they have with others, with themselves, with you name it. It all comes from the self, I, me. So you have to learn to, along with how you react to the world, react the same to yourself. You know, when I said, when something happens and you want to react and go, how dare you, how, you name it, and get upset, mad, irritated. When you do something and you mess up, you treat yourself like you would want to treat other people. Treat yourself like you would want someone to treat their child and love their child. It's okay. We'll figure this out. There's something going on. I know that. I got to figure out how to handle it. How do I actually handle this? You got to treat yourself with love, care, just like you would with other people.
And this touches the fine balance between self production and compassion.
Yeah, I think, you have to also make sure you push yourself, because you don't want to be so self-loving that you aren't productive and that you allow yourself. It's also setting a, like what you're saying, it's also setting your own boundaries for yourself, because you can't always just, you know, I'm the best. It's okay. Don't worry. No, no, no. We'll take care of it. You have to also almost be like the masculine and father. And this is not okay, though. What this happened. I'm going to love myself with the situation, but I need to be firm in how I react and the actions I take to make things better. So you have to also negotiate and have boundaries with yourself in how you operate, because otherwise, again, if you don't respect others and you don't respect yourself, that causes negative consequences, because you have to respect the area, your emotions, other people.
That's amazing. So, John Weaver just reminded us that real strength isn't in domination or revenge, but in release, in peace, and in choosing love when it's hardest. Forgiveness is not forgetting, it's freedom. And sometimes the most successful people aren't the ones with the biggest businesses, but the ones who have mastered the art of letting go.
Yeah, and I think that's the most important thing you have. That's the most important thing you have is letting go. And it's not about the, having the biggest business or the biggest anything. It's about, honestly, what matters most in life is being the most loving, great, honest, real person you can be.
I agree. So thank you so much, John. It was a pleasure to have you.
Yes, thank you as well. I appreciate you.
Have an amazing day.